Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I'm going to keep this intro relatively short before the video starts playing. Basically, this video is going to show you why creating your own ebooks and selling your own ebooks on your own website is going to be much more effective and much more profitable than selling ebooks on KDP. I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with selling ebooks on KDP. KDP is the #1 place currently to sell your ebooks for a mass market. You know, when people do a basic Google search on how to sell an ebook, pretty much the first thing that's going to come up is Amazon KDP. And it's a great opportunity. I've been selling my ebooks personally, through websites and through blogs for over the last 8 years now. And I really got started into this by building my own website. So I really feel very strongly about having power in your own hands and charging more for your product. We're talking about 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks per ebook, a lot more. And I explain more into it. I know a lot of people who may be beginners in this world, who maybe never sold products before. You have to still recognize that even if you charge $100 for an ebook, it's still considered a low-ticket product, okay? In the grand market, it's not like you're selling a $5,000 course or anything like that. So these ebooks, there's a lot to it. I'll let the video play out. I just also wanted to make a quick notification to everybody who's watching. The people who are the members, by the time this video comes out, episode 3 of the never before seen AI income generating episode is going to be out by now, episode 3. So for those who don't know, we've already released episode 1. We have episode 2 and episode 3. This is a way that I'm generating income through AI, never before. I've never done this before, and it's really a strategy that nobody on the internet pretty much talks about. I haven't seen anybody really talk about this in depth. So we're utilizing AI to make money on online a certain way. I can't talk about what that way is. There's obviously a lot of avenues, a lot of sources, but I'm doing my research. But more importantly, I'm documenting the journey as I'm doing it. So it's my first time doing it, you know what I'm saying? So it's out there. So I just wanted to mention that. I'll leave links in the description to the members' videos if you want to go ahead and check them out. People who are already members, go watch them, okay? I know we released 2 videos pretty much together in one shot, but hey, this is the 3rd episode, so enjoy, all right? I'm going to let the video play, and enjoy the video, guys. Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I'm super excited to be back. As you guys know, or may not know, you guys know since the beginning of the year I've been sick for about easily the first 3 weeks. And then right after kind of recovering from getting sick, I kind of hurt my back, which put me out of commission. You guys kind of know that I want to upload each and every day here to YouTube. And I really, really want to. Last year, I was kind of slow. The last 5-6 months, I was uploading like maybe 2 or 4 videos a month. And I don't want that to happen. I want to upload more. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about why I stopped creating books on KDP and I went the solo route. So we got a little whiteboard here. I'm going to explain kind of my story, but more importantly, I'm going to drop a lot of value along the way, teaching you guys how to actually make money creating ebooks. So for those who haven't seen one of my past videos, I will leave a link in the description. You can go ahead and watch it after this video, but it will fill in a lot of the gaps as to how I actually make money selling ebooks. A lot of people do KDP. It's one of the things that have been promoted really, really heavily, I would say over the last 4 or 5 years. And for those who actually don't know kind of my story, I started off initially creating a website and selling clothing on a website. This was a clothing brand. Initially, it actually wasn't clothing. It was weightlifting gear, and then it kind of shifted into a fitness brand with clothing. And then later down the road, I sold that business. But as I was creating that business, I had KDP business in the meantime. And the only reason why I had it was because there would be certain things that I would have to wait for the clothing business to kind of take time to run. So for example, if I did SEO on my website for my clothing business, things don't tap in right away. SEO could take weeks to months depending on how advanced and how much authority your website has. So I was doing other things in the meantime. I was gaining as much resources, as much knowledge as possible, and I ended up selling that website for the clothing business a while down the road. but I also had the KDP business providing me an income. I still have that KDP account till today, providing me roughly the same amount of income. There hasn't really been much of a difference, and I've had that account for over the last 8 years. And like I said, there hasn't been much of a drop in the income, but what's nice about KDP is that you create an ebook once, right? And then you get to sell that ebook over and over and over again. In fact, that is pretty much the quintessential definition of passive income. Okay? Now, here's the thing. I kind of don't do KDP anymore. Not kind of, but I really don't. Maybe I'll get into it in the future again, but in this 8-year period of time, I haven't went back and created another ebook on KDP. I have a different strategy as to how I sell ebooks, and I'll kind of lay it out for you. So first off, let's kind of do a comparison here. You have KDP, which is essentially Amazon, and you have solo. Solo is essentially you creating your own website and you doing it solo. You're not relying on KDP or Amazon's infrastructure for the marketing. Now, there's benefits, there's pros, and there's cons. There's really a lot of drawbacks here, and there's a lot of good things here. So it just depends on your mindset. KDP, obviously, the biggest benefit is the marketing, okay? But also the biggest drawback behind KDP is that most ebooks are going to sell from $2.99 to $9.99, and you don't even get to take all of this for profit, right? I think you get like 70% in the KDP Select program. Now, if I say something wrong about KDP, please don't hold it against me. Like I said, it's been years since I even logged into the account. Other than collecting my tax information from there each and every year, I really don't do much on there. I've never, upload an ebook or edit a description or edit a title. It doesn't happen. So essentially, for most people, the pricing ranges from $2.99 to $9.99. If you decide to charge more, we'll use this marker instead. If you decide to charge more, you're going to get a lot less profit. So it becomes a point in time, it's like, okay, you're not going to generate a lot of profit either way. Now, once again, the biggest benefit of KDP is the marketing behind it. Now, doing things solo is a little bit different. You're responsible for your own traffic. And the truth is, guys, is that everybody in the business world at one point in time or another has trouble generating traffic. But once you can come over this mountain, this hump, there's really nothing you can't sell in the business world. There's no money that you can't make. If you truly understand how to generate traffic, and there's many ways, there's many, many ways, then you can really cross mountains in the business world, because that's what business is, really. If you can figure out how to get that foot traffic, you're going to make money, essentially. So when you create your own website, you sell your own ebook, you're doing things solo, you're going to have to figure out how to build your own traffic. But the huge benefit of this is you can charge any price that you want. Now, in my last video, and like I said, I'll leave a link in the description to the last video, I've mentioned to you guys that there were ebooks that I've sold for upwards of $65, $99, $45. I'll never charge anything over $99, but you get the point. But we're talking about an ebook here. We're not talking about a course. We're not talking about a physical product. We're talking about an ebook. So how can I go from, instead of selling an ebook for $3 to $99 or $65 or $45 or $35 even? You know, charging $35 or $47 for an ebook is really nothing to joke around about. Once again, it's passive income. You write the book once and it generates income. Now, as far as writing the ebook, there's many tools out there. You don't actually have to write it. You can work on it, but I use AI. And so this is the tool that I use, but once again, different video for a different time. We'll just stick to the topic today. So how does this actually happen? How do you get to charge more? Well, once again, if you caught that glimpse in my video, I kind of spoke about this. I spoke about how, you know, in the ebook writing world, people who buy something that costs a lot more than what it normally would be worth which in this case, buying your solo ebook as opposed to a KDP ebook, is because they really can't find a solution elsewhere. They really can't find a solution to the very problem that they had anywhere else. That's really why they would essentially be working with you, right? That's why they're going to be buying your ebook. I gave an example about this before, but I talked about how I sold a book about alopecia. And for those who don't know what alopecia is essentially when you have balding in a certain spot in your head. It's not like a normal balding. It's like a random patch in your head that you'll lose hair, and you could have multiple patches. It's actually very embarrassing for a lot of people. It's very emotionally draining, I guess you could say. A lot of people try to cover it up. They wear hats. Some people try to wear wigs. And unfortunately for some people, the condition, alopecia, gets so bad for people that they might lose all their hair on their head. They'll also lose hair on their body. They'll lose hair on their eyebrows. For men, the facial hair, it's a big thing. Beard, mustache, all that kind of stuff. And for me, I had alopecia since I was in the 7th grade. And somewhere along the line, after I had graduated college, I figured out how to actually reverse my alopecia and actually grow and my hair back and not have any issues. And I actually learned that it was from the types of food that I was eating. So it's a long story as to how I figured that out. That's really not the point. But the point is there were really no other guides online to help people with this severe problem. And so I started kind of documenting my journey through a blog as to how I actually did this. And the way I did this was through a written website. So I had a website, and I would write article after article after article after article. Now, with time, and I told you guys this, ever since I sold my clothing business, I've had many, many years in between to just create blogs, because that became now my mental system as to how to produce an income. My strategy was, after I sold that business, is that I never want to have only one income source. I never want to rely on one income. That's why when you guys have been watching me for the past few years, you hear me talk about print on demand, you hear me talk about all these things. It's because my mindset comes from this passive income strategy approach, which is really rooted in diversification. I'm a big believer that you don't need to produce one income from just one strategy and never depend on one strategy. You need to have lots of different strategies, right? And have a lot of different income streams, because not every day will an income stream always produce for you. There's things that could potentially go wrong. So I took the same approach with my blog building. I would have many, many websites, and these websites were on different topics that I was either aware of, or I wanted to learn about, or I was already having success in, whatever it might be. So at one point in time, I was really obsessed with woodworking. I had a woodworking blog, and I sold woodworking plans on that blog. So there were different things that I did, right? But more importantly, this alopecia ebook was essentially my solution to people who were suffering from the same thing. And in that book, I didn't actually give people the solution for their problem, because truth be told, nobody really knows why they are going through what they're going through. But I simply explained how I figured it out for myself and how maybe they can do the same thing for themselves. So really what it was is I was just sharing my personal information in that ebook. And I made that very clear to customers before they purchased. I wasn't trying to pull a fast one on anyone. That's just how it went. And so what happened was people started selling the ebook. And gradually over time, I started increasing the price of the ebook. And I noticed that people were still paying for it. Now, once again, this is through my journey of understanding how to actually sell ebooks properly. So at first, I actually sold the ebook for $27. Then I increased the price to $47. And then after that, I increased the price to $97. And it was selling the entire time. It didn't actually change anything. I actually sold that website right before January came. I've had the website for over 6 years, and it's been pretty decently successful for me. But the point is that I would not have sold the ebooks for any of these prices had I not had traffic. Now, what is traffic? Well, in my case, for everybody's case, traffic is simply just people coming to your website website visitors, right? That's what traffic is. But in my case, my traffic came directly from my blog posts. My blog posts became the push to my website, my blog. And my blog had all these kinds of information, resources, and tools to help people potentially fix their problems related to that certain topic. Now, my blog, and I've talked about this before, I kind of formulated a strategy. Once again, there's been many websites where I failed at, many websites where I succeeded at, but I have a strategy of anywhere from 30 to 95 articles suffices. Now, keep in mind, these articles are mostly written by human beings, not just AI. A lot of people use only AI now, and these are the same type of people that will get a lot of impressions, but they will not get a lot of traffic. Now, there's SEO reasons behind why that is. I won't actually go too deep into it now because this is not an SEO video, but in order for you to really have respect in Google's eyes, you need to create content that has not been seen before from an algorithmic standpoint of view. And this is not a human being measuring this kind of stuff. This is Google's machines, the search engine, figuring all this stuff out. But my blog posts, which are already housed on my website, right, were the ones generating traffic for me. And the traffic is what led people to my articles, right? People would search something about alopecia, my article would come up, and then from there, people would see recommendations for my ebook, and then over time, they understood the value of the ebook, and we have something called a value proposition, meaning what are you actually offering people, right? What is your proposition in exchange for the money, okay? So if this is the money, what is going to allow people to hand over their money and take in your value proposition? It becomes a cycle, right? If you can't offer the value proposition that is good enough for you to get the money, you won't get the money, period. But essentially, they figured out the value after me learning different tactics like copywriting, website marketing, website design even. And over time, I generated more and more sales. These are all different aspects that contributed to this business, but that's essentially how I sold my ebook. Now, between me and you, would you rather sell an ebook for, let's just say, $47, or would you rather sell an ebook for $2.99 and get 70% of it? The reality is most people would go with the larger number, but people don't like to, I guess you could say, burden themselves with learning new tricks, new tactics, new things like that. And so, unfortunately, they're forced to suffer in competition with KDP. Now, there's still strategies that are probably emerging and new strategies to help people succeed on KDP. There's probably a lot of different creators and influencers in that world who push people to create content on KDP and make a lot of money. And I'm not against that whatsoever. In fact, I really push people to generate any income any way they can. In fact, that's what I really preach. I don't know if I push, but I preach that, hey guys, if you're out there making money, go do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But where the problem lies is that when people all tend to think one way, right, it's almost like a sheep mindset. There's no other way out. Part of the reason why I came up with certain money-making strategies that I've shared here on YouTube and in the members area that were really not even discussed on YouTube is because I like to think outside the box. Now, don't get me wrong, when I was selling these ebooks 4, 5, 3 years ago, and even now, there were people doing it. I just wasn't really aware. I'm not a big content consumer, so I didn't really go out there and look for these kind of things, but I realized over time that there was actually a large community of people doing this, and it was similar in the ebook world, but they were selling other products. It wasn't just ebooks. They were selling all kinds of different digital products, and this was actually in the world of something called ClickBank. Now, the first time I actually heard about this was through a guy named Elliot Hulse. If you guys don't know about Elliot Hulse, he was a fitness trainer. And Elliot Hulse was he still is a fitness trainer, but he was all about like strength, and he has this thing called Strength Camp, and he's really famous. I mean, everybody pretty much knows him. You could just Google him, you'll recognize how he looks like. And many, many years ago, way before he ever posted a YouTube video, a lot of people don't know this, he used to have this strength training program, like a binder, that he would sell people, and basically the way you would pay for it is you would email him a check. Like you would email like a little, like a little check, or you would mail it to him, you wouldn't email it to him, you would mail it to him, and he would send you this binder in the mail. And he will send it to you like 4 to 6 weeks later. Now, that was the very start to his ClickBank journey. From there, I knew about a guy called Jason Capital. Now, this was years later. His name actually at the time wasn't Jason Capital. His real name is Alex. But he used to teach basketball training. And he used to show people, he was really good at basketball. So he had this basketball training. And he actually didn't know how to create a landing page or anything like that. But he created his first landing page in like a weekend. Some guy taught him how to do it. And then he essentially made like 20-something grand on a website called ClickBank. The point is that there's this huge community of people who have been doing this over a very long period of time. I just didn't know. I was just doing my own kind of thing. And I was doing it in such a way that it was really working because I didn't have to pay for any ads to make it happen. I was using something completely organic, completely SEO based, and it was generating income relatively consistently. And so that's when I started to kind of branch out. I didn't just sell ebooks anymore. I started to look into things like selling physical products, which, by the way, I don't necessarily recommend anymore because my life now is really based around how to put in as least effort as possible. I know that might sound bad, but the reality is that's the quintessential cornerstone of engineering is minimal input, maximal output, But physical products, membership type products, and when I say membership type products, I mean newsletters, so email newsletters, things like that. And you can branch out and sell all kinds of products, but really the formula to selling ebooks or anything related to ebooks in this business is number one, you need to have a home base. And your home base is going to be your website. I mean, that's for everybody. You need to have a home base, okay? If you don't have a home base, that means somebody else owns your home base. So in the case of people who sell their books on KDP, which once again, there's nothing wrong with, when you sell your books on KDP, who owns it? Amazon owns it. KDP owns it. Once again, it's not a bad thing, but you're also put in some sort of risk. It's not unheard of to get your book accounts banned. It's not unheard of to even look at it this way. Back when we were talking about Redbubble, and I used to really push Redbubble, I used to tell you guys, it's important to still have your own assets. Save your images on the side. Create a website and upload your designs there just in case. You never know what happens. I used to say these things because we were completely aware that there are companies that own these assets effectively. They really own you, so you don't have a home base. So you need to have your home base. That's going to be your website. That's their first step. The next step is you need to figure out what on the website, what problem are you going to solve? And it could be a list of problems. It doesn't have to be one problem, but what problem can you really solve? And can this problem allow you to command a price point of more than just that typical $9.99, right? Because if we wanted to sell an ebook for $9.99, $2.99, $4.99, we could easily go to KDP. But we want something that is more beneficial at the end of the day. And in order for us to actually solve this kind of problem, there are a list of questions we have to answer. There's actually a strategic way as to how to actually mentally get to this point and be effective at it because, let's be honest, not all problems are valued the same. Like if I want to figure out how to, let's just say, change the RAM on my computer, let's be honest, I don't really need to buy an ebook for that. I could just look it up on YouTube for free. So there are certain problems that are just not worth being paid for. So there is a strategy behind this, but after you find the problem, then you have to create an audience around that problem. So that's the third thing, which is you create the audience. For me, it happened to be writing articles, but for you guys, it could be anything. I mean, it could be TikTok, right? They brought TikTok back. It was going to be banned, but hey, it could be TikTok. It could be YouTube. Maybe you could start making YouTube videos. Maybe it's writing articles. Maybe it's creating an Instagram account. Everybody has a different way of generating an audience. And then after that audience, that's when you have a formation to sell the product. And when I say formation, it really fits in on the home base. Formation to sell. Okay, and what do I mean by that? You need to learn how to create things like a landing page. You need to learn how to connect the landing page to the product, the thank you page, right? You need to be able to allow customers to be able to access their product at any time. All of these kind of things may seem somewhat technical, but it all relates to the formation. How are you going to form this environment for the customer to actually access the product and things like that. So you have to be able to learn how to do all this. You have to create a landing page. You have to learn, in terms of landing pages, let's talk about the characteristics for that. You need to learn copy, right? Copywriting. You need to learn what words do I put on the page to make the customer understand what I'm truly offering, right? Other than copy, you need to learn design. Design is a huge aspect. If your website looks like it was designed in 2004, the reality is people are going to be turned off. They're just not going to be interested in buying as much. It has to look modern, it has to look clean, it has to look professional. There are certain aspects like that. I'm not saying you have to be, Apple.com of design. You don't have to do that, but it has to be clean enough to where someone goes on there, trust that you're offering what you're offering and purchase, and have a flawless experience. There's technology to help with that nowadays, but all that kind of comes into play. And then, like I said, they have to be able to transact. So transacting is, and I've said this in the last video, once again, we use Stripe for that. You can use PayPal, you can use, whatever app you want to use, but it should be in a way that's professional. So for example, I'll give you a quick example. There's a guy on YouTube back in the day. His name was Beast Mode Jones. He's a fitness YouTuber. Chris Jones, Beast Mode Jones, Physiques of Greatness, people know him. And back in the day, he used to sell these t-shirts and these workout programs. He still sells them. But back in the day, he used to sell these t-shirts and workout programs. And what he would do is he would have people send money on things like Cash App and Venmo and apps like that and PayPal. And then what he would do is he would send them the product. But that's really not a clean way of doing business. People should be able to go on your website, not have to contact you or anything like that, send you the money by just literally clicking a button, adding a product to their cart, and they should have like a receipt or some sort of email or something saying, hey, your order's on the way. Instead, this guy had to figure out who sent the order, figure out the address, kind of do everything manually, which really hurts the business. Like if you want to sell an ebook, if every single time somebody wanted to buy an ebook from you, you had to get in contact with them, you had to reach out to them, you had to check if they were free or available to talk on the phone, like it's just a headache. So you need to be able to do it flawlessly and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be sharing a lot of this information, but once again, if this kind of stuff interests you, write it in the comments down below. But guys, what this is at the end of the day is this is another source, another way to make income over time. And in the beginning, it's not passive, right? It's very active in the beginning. You're doing your building, you're doing your website design, you're creating your blog posts, you're doing everything. I mean, if that's what you want to do, blog posts. For some other people, it might be TikTok videos, whatever. The point is you're doing your work. And then over time, it doesn't become active at all. In fact, it becomes very passive. There are many, many websites that I have. I've spoken about this before, but I have over 70, and I have been in the process of selling them. And, not all websites did I fully capitalize on. I've just been looking at my list today. I have like over 13 domains that I never wrote a single article for, that I never even designed for. I didn't even start the system for, but I had it in the game plan at the time. The point is that this was my business. This was something that I was doing each and every single day. This was the thing that I was waking up for every day, chasing after it, building it. And once I built it, I would move on to the next one. I had a workable formula. I still have that formula today. But once again, I am in the process of currently selling pretty much all of my websites. I think I'm going to be left with a few at the very end, maybe 4 or 5. I've already sold more than half, and all of these websites are profitable. I'm not saying that all of my websites are profitable, but all the ones that I'm selling are profitable. I've created, over 100 plus websites in my lifetime. I mean, in my lifetime, probably over 1,000, but in this sphere, like of these 8 years of blogs specifically for this business, easily over 100, maybe over 175. Not all of them have succeeded. And mostly because not all of them have I chased after, have I built, and really kind of focused on. Sometimes I bit off a niche too big than I can chew. It was just too much for me. So there are different aspects to this business. There are different ways to really succeed in this business, but anybody can succeed in this business. The biggest point, like I said, is learning how to generate traffic. If you can generate traffic, then anything else can be done. In fact, you could actually find a partner to your business to handle all the business side, the production side, the product creation side, as long as you can figure out how to do traffic. If you can figure out traffic, that's really the hardest point. But once again, the people who can't generate traffic are the people who are going to be chained to the conglomerate type companies and really don't give them ownership over their products. And that's where the issues come into play. So this was years ago, once again, but when I was teaching things about Redbubble and I was telling people, guys, Redbubble is great. I do XYZ on Redbubble. I would get comments of people hating on the company. People saying, I hate that company. They this, they that. So I made a video solution. I just said, okay, if you don't like them, just go do your own thing. Create your own website. But they couldn't. And they couldn't because they didn't know how to generate traffic. So generating traffic, like I said, is the most important thing. We can talk about these things and break them down over time. But my point here is that this is a very viable passive income business over time. Obviously, it's not going to be passive right away. But over time, a passive income business that will probably stand the test of time past the AI takeover. And once again, it depends on your niche, it depends on the category, it depends on the things that you're talking about. But there are certain things that you can discuss in your ebooks or certain niches that really will live past AI. They require more of a human touch, things that might be more complex, and things that there's not too much information on. And the reason why I say that is because if you form the bridge right now mentally, if you remember the last video, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description for the people who didn't see that video. But something that I would constantly say in the video is the niche mattered so much. I would niche down drastically. And I would find these problems that people were facing that I knew the solution to, something that I was interested in, I would create content based on that. But it was very, very niche. And there wasn't a lot of content online. Well, if there's not enough content online, AI won't be able to penetrate that niche, right? Because if there's not enough, then there's not enough data for it to work off of. So it won't be able to give readers a viable solution, right? Because remember how AI works. ChatGPT, Claude, all these kind of different AI engines, I guess you can say, when you're communicating with them, they've pulled their information off data points. These data points are really just kind of amalgamated through search engines, through Google, through Yahoo, through Bing, and then they're inputted into a database. The AI understands them, then kind of has a base learning knowledge. And based on that base, it will provide you with answers. Well, that's kind of the whole recipe here, is that I'm going so niche down that there is lack of content online, lack of solutions. People are almost forced to come to me because there's not many other solutions. That's number one. But number two, I'm hitting the nail on the head by truly giving them what they need, right? No bait and switch, no scams, no steal your money and run off. I'm truly giving them what they need. And the AI can't really compete because there's nobody else producing information on this. Or it's not that there's nobody else, is that there's nobody else who's doing it consistently and as effectively as me. That's kind of the concept, right? And so you could do this in niches that are constantly changing, niches that are extremely competitive. But like I said in that list video, I kind of talked about different ideas of different niches, and I kind of gave some examples. So if you want to see that, go ahead. You can see here I got to actually plug in my laptop because the battery is pretty low. But you get the point. We've been talking for a while here. So hopefully this video is beneficial. I will create more videos on this, and I will do more live tutorials on this. But I figured I'd show you, all right? I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.